Howdy folks, Monty here, and welcome to the second episode of Armchair Developer. Yes, there are two episodes in the same day, and that's just because there's a lot to talk about. In this episode, we're going to talk about what's coming next in Legion, and that is patch 7.1, Return to Karazhan. Yes, even though Legion is less than a week old, Blizzard is already talking about what's coming next. This is, I believe, an attempt at saying, hey guys, we hear your concerns about the content droughts. We're going to keep content rolling in this time, much like they did at the beginning of Mist of Pandaria. They kept the patches rolling at a pretty brisk pace until Siege of Orgrimmar, and then things fell flat. So hopefully things aren't going to fall flat this time. Hopefully the content's going to be coming, beginning with 7.1. 7.1 is, of course, Return to Karazhan, which is a fan favorite dungeon. It is my favorite raid. It is the raid that I cut my teeth on in Burning Crusade when I first started raiding, and I know a lot of people are the same, come from the same time period. That's where a lot of your die-hard WoW fans come from, I think, because Karazhan was such a good experience. It was just a great raid. One thing that Blizzard is doing right off the bat with this is that this is not going to be like other revamps. This is not going to be like ZA and ZG. It's not going to be like Skolo. It's not going to be like Scarlet Monastery, Scarlet Halls, UBRS, all of these that have had revamps that have in turn gotten rid of the original versions of them. I mean, who here wouldn't like to go back and do vanilla Deadmines, but you can't do it anymore because Deadmines has been revamped. This is not going to be like that. Original Karazhan is still going to be there. This is just a return to Karazhan. The events that took place in Burning Crusade still happen, and now we're coming back during the events of Legion after Khadgar has tried to seal away the Legion in Karazhan during the pre-quest. Obviously that wasn't successful. The Legion has now broken in, and we're going to go in and clean Karazhan out. So it's not getting rid of the old instance. I don't think it's going to use the same instance portal. From the trailer, it looks like maybe we're going to start at the top and work our way down. But it's going to be its own thing. It's going to be a 9-boss 5-man, and that right there I could talk about for a long time. This is what I think is going to be Blizzard's first attempt at 5-man raiding. Dungeons in Legion already are going to be an alternate progression path to raiding. At the highest level, you're going to be getting loot from your Mythic Plus dungeons. That's going to be equivalent to Heroic Raid gear, maybe even better with your weekly chest. Are you going to be able to get Mythic level raid gear? Not a whole lot of it. Are you going to be able to get better gear in raids than you're going to be able to in dungeons? At the very top end, yes. But at the end of the day, dungeons are going to be a parallel progression path to raiding. And Return to Karazhan is really going to kind of exemplify that. This is a 9-boss 5-man with a weekly lockout, just like a raid, that you can kill boss 1 and 2 on Tuesday. And then you can come back Friday and kill bosses 3 through 5, just like you can in a raid. So it's going to be a progression-oriented 5-man. That's been something I've been wanting for a very long time. So just taking a look at the trailer, some of the things that stood out to me, of course, the Opera event. Blizzard has already said there will be a new Opera event. What I'm hoping we're going to see there is, just like the old Opera event, it's going to give you a random event from a small pool of possible events. I'd like to see one repeat there. I'd like to see Big Bad Wolf, but the other two I would like to see be new events, and I think they will. You see in the trailer there are some clips of Murlocs dressed up as pirates. I have a feeling that's going to be one of the new Opera fights. We'll have to see, but new Opera event. Of course, it looks like we've got something very similar to the old Moros fight. It looks like we're going to be fighting Moros again. You look through the trailer, you see an upside-down portion of Karazhan where it looks like you're walking on the ceiling, and what looks like it should be the ceiling is actually the floor. Of course, in the lore, Karazhan has actually got a mirror image of itself underneath it. That kind of like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, if you ever played it, where the castle has a mirror image underneath it, and the very, very bottom is like an inverted version of the top, so the ceiling is the floor and that kind of thing. So I think yeah, we are going to start at the top of the tower and work our way down to the bottom, and that last half will be upside down, which should be interesting. Saw a few shots of what looked like Maiden, Curator, and Attumen possibly with a new mount. And then, of course, we see Medivh in there. Now, I'm really hoping that the story here is not going to be, hey, Medivh is still corrupted, and we're going to have to go kill him, because we've already been there, right? We've done the corrupted Medivh. He turned against everybody. He brought the orcs over to Azeroth because he was corrupted by Sargeras. Then he comes back and is kind of a point of redemption for him, orchestrates the events of Warcraft 3 to try to help the Horde rise to power, try to get the Alliance to move over to Kalimdor and try to actually fight the events of the Burning Crusade, essentially. Try to fight the Burning Legion as they're coming onto Azeroth for the first time. So I really hope that this isn't, well, he was redeemed in Warcraft 3, but now he's back and he's evil again. We're going to have to kill him. I hope that there's still a redemption there. Maybe we're fighting a shade of Medivh, and if we win the fight, he gets purified or whatever. I don't know. But I hope that Medivh is going to stick around, because he's a character I'd like to see more of, or at least, let him rest in peace. Don't keep bringing him back as a boss. Of course, there are other things besides the return to Karazhan. There are new campaign quests and world quests in Suramar that obviously Suramar has been extremely well received. I've loved it so far. I'm still not done with the zone, so I can't really comment too much on this yet, except to say that if the zone continues the way it has started, I know by the end I'm going to want more of it, so I'm looking forward to seeing what comes in 7.1. And then a new raid, Trial of Valor. It's going to be a 3-boss raid that's going to kind of take place progression-wise in between the Emerald Nightmare and the Nighthold. And again, 3-boss raid. One of the things that Blizzard says is these bosses are going to drop trinkets that you're going to want. And that's something that I've always liked in raids personally. I've always liked trinkets that do unique and interesting things. It's one of the reasons I liked Hellfire Citadel so much. The class trinkets from Armchair were awesome. And I love small raids. A lot of people didn't like Trial of the Crusader back in Wrath of the Lich King. I was one of the few that did. I like going in and just having boss after boss after boss without much trash, if any, in between the bosses. So a 3-boss raid I think is going to be great for off-night pug groups. Really primarily progression-oriented teams, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot out of it. It seems like it's going to be more of a filler raid, but hey, I'll take it. In a small patch that's going to be taking place in between 2 major raids that we're about to get one in a couple weeks, and we know we're going to get one in early 2017. Having that small 3-boss raid in the middle could be just the ticket to keep raiding content fresh throughout this early life of the expansion. So really looking forward to seeing this. It's going to be hitting the PTR in the next week or two, and once it does, I'm actually going to be playing on the PTR. I'm going to be posting up some gameplay videos. We're going to post up some guides for the Return to Karazhan fights, maybe even the Trial of Valor fights. So stay tuned on the channel for that information. Otherwise, thanks for listening. Hit me with a like, hit me with a subscribe. Most importantly of all, hit me with some comments so I know how I'm doing and know what you guys are looking for. And other than that, thank you for listening.